Well, she was gonna come.
Okay, we'll call the regular meeting of the Tracy City Council for March 12th, 2018 to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Let us pray. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, send down upon those who hold office in this town of Tracy the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Have approval of the February 26th meeting? Any corrections or?
I found one typo on page 7, the first line. The 10th letter in, I believe, or 10th word in. Vital should be vital. Approval as amended.
Second that.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the agenda that we have. Is there any additions?
Mr. Mayor, we got a few additions here. 10J, liability coverage waiver. We need to do a correction on that. That was backwards on the check boxes from the last meeting. And then 10K, a request for temporary off-site on-sale license for Tracy Liquor Store contingent on state laws. And then under 12A, resolutions, authorization to execute Minnesota Department of Transportation grant agreement for the airport improvement project. And that's all I have.
We have a motion for that with the...
Move approval as amended.
I'll second.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anybody from the public that wants to speak on something that is not on the agenda? No. I don't have any public hearing. I don't have any reports. We'll go to the petitions. Appoint a board members for the various committees.
So we have Planning Commission. We have 2 openings right now. We got an application received from Rhonda Fredericks. And that was the only one, right? And that is the only application we received for that. You want to do these one by one?
We probably should because the one has 3 and we have to pick one. So we can, so do we have a motion to appoint Rhonda to the board for the Planning Commission?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay.
Any discussion? First, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries for Rhonda. And the EDA board, we have 3 with 1 opening.
In the past, those currently serving are usually given the first opportunity to be appointed. Tom is currently on the EDA board. I will make a motion to keep Tom on the seat.
I'll second that.
Okay. First, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So, I suppose we have to keep going. Police Commission, we have 1 application, Bill Tower. Do we have a motion to appoint him?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a first and second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? HRA Board, we have one, which would be Claire.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
First and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Aqua Board has two, and we have two applicants. So if everybody's okay with those, we have a motion to approve Greg and Ann.
I'd make that motion to approve them.
I'll second it.
First and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The Library Board, we have two openings, and we have Becky Averill, Sandra Staub, and Vicky Streifel. Is that how you say her name?
I talked with the library board president, and their policy is the same as EDA's, and currently serving, and there's a position available to put those back in, and the librarian Val agrees with that, Terry, so I'd make a motion to put Sandy and Vicky back in.
I'll second that.
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So the rest of these, can we do it? We might as well just do them all by. Cemetery Board, we have one opening and no applicant. Right? Yep. Multipurpose Center Board, we have three openings, and we have Becky Averill.
Make a motion to appoint Becky to the multi-purpose center board.
Second.
First and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we have none for the Hospital Board. Next, we have approval of the private bottle club license for the Tracy Eagles.
I'd make that motion as long as the fees are paid and everything's up to what it's supposed to be. All paperwork, I should say.
Is everything okay?
Yes. I'll second it.
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of setup license for Tracy Lanes.
Make that motion contingent on fees and paperwork.
Second that.
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Request for Dave Auger to use office at the airport for his flight instruction business.
So in your packet, I have a request from Dave Auger to use the Tracy Aircraft. Would like to use the office space in A&D building for ground flight. I do have a memo on my opinion on that for your reference.
Dave, are you aware that the requirements for a commercial operator's license from MnDOT Aeronautics for the school and the rental?
In the process right now.
Okay.
So the question that I had is it was brought to our attention that to use that for something like that we'd end up having to pay, isn't that correct? That we'd have to pay back all the funds that we got from the,
For that portion of the building. Because it's no longer for public use. So we'd have to pay the past funding back in order to make that a public use or a private use. What he advised, which most airports do, is have them lease land and have them put their own flight instruction building up for that purpose, or build a new AD building in the future and then utilize our old AD building for purposes such as that. Is kind of what the state advised. But yeah, for what we have, they did not advise doing that with our current office space.
That being said, that wouldn't stop somebody in that AD building, you know, we used to call it pre-brief and debrief before a flight and after a flight with our students. That's still an allowable function.
Yeah, flight planning is.
Right.
Yep.
And then just not actually operating with any training equipment or anything like that, so they can use the facility to go through that,
Yeah.
do their flight.
Yep.
and use it for debrief.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is, the state obviously looked into licensure, and there was no operators that were currently licensed with the operating out of Tracy, so. And that becomes a liability to us, because if something was to happen, one of the requirements for licensing is insurance and bonding, so that's where they had a lot of concern on that, even more than the funding part of it, so.
And that was from MnDOT Aviation. Yeah.
I did talk to him about why that office is in there. He says typically what they put him in there for is the manager. Obviously, I do most of my stuff from the shop because we don't have the facilities out there to handle the internet side of it. You know, and one of my suggestions was, why don't we just remove the office so they have more room to work in there and just make a little small room for the computer equipment? Because really it is wasted space.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So it wouldn't cost much to do it. There's no load-bearing walls there. Just an option. And we'll just leave the desk there, so.
Does that answer everything for you, Dave, or?
The other question is, can we just use the lobby for that, for our flight instruction?
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna get after, you know?
As long as you're, you know, everything's out when you're done,
Yeah.
and you have your licensure that the state requires.
Yeah, I'm in the process.
The biggest thing is you can't take over the AD building because it's.
I
it's not what
understand
its
that.
purpose is,
Yeah, we
so.
can't call
We're gonna
it
have to
a-
share it.
Yeah.
When it comes spring season, it's gonna be tight,
Yeah,
so.
And it's not like it's gonna be a day in, day out event out there.
No.
So it's a little cooperation.
With both parties, I can understand that. It will work. Thank you.
Yep. So
I don't know if that office is something you want to bring up to the airport board, or.
we should look at that, bring it up to the next airport commission and see what we can.
Cause really,
We're thinking about going for the new furniture and stuff out there too.
yeah, because there isn't much, you know, it's not really a nice space to put furniture either. And we kind of measured it up, but you know, what we could do is take and just extend the utility room into that office a little ways, because that's where everything's coming in for the computers from the outside equipment. And, you know, just have like a little, more or less a little closet there, and then just open that room up, you know, short of where the sink is. You know, then they have like a little desk there, then they have like say like a lobby, and then just a desk there to use for their flight planning and that, so.
So is this just something we're just gonna have to kind of table for now?
I would say maybe bring it up to
You
the
can keep
airport
working-
board.
You can keep working on your stuff, but it's something that can be used to
Yeah.
do this in the future, we just can't approve it.
It just can't be solely used,
For that
you know,
purpose.
we can't rent the office out, have it locked for this business.
Everybody, yeah.
Person.
Okay,
But I mean, if they want to
Refer
use
back
it,
to the airport commission.
they want to operate out of their vehicle and use it as, you know, temporary for the day or whatever. I mean, as long as they're not hindering people coming in and out. I mean, obviously the traffic isn't real busy out there now, but I mean, spraying season, there's gonna be nice to have the extra space in there too, so I guess it's definitely an option.
I think that's a good idea. So we will just table that one for now, right?
Is it table it, or, I mean, are we more or less done with it? We're going to send it back to,
We'll refer it back to the
Airport.
airport commission.
Put it back to the airport.
I don't know, we need a motion in a second on that?
To refer it to the,
Yeah. I mean, it
We
wouldn't
never
hurt,
heard.
Should we?
wouldn't hurt to have it.
Is there a motion to send it to the airport committee?
I'd make a motion to refer the issue of using the office flight instruction back to the airport commission for policy and rules.
I'll second that.
First and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. The school health fair requested donated pool pass.
So, Shannon Gossen from Southwest Health and Human Services. They do an annual health fair at the school, and they're looking for like door prizes and stuff to give out to the kids. They're wondering if the city would be interested in donating 3 to 5 daily passes to give out at that event.
Daily passes,
Just for a one-day
Five.
world pass.
Like $5, I think.
I,
Right, $5?
Yeah.
I think I'll make a motion to give 5 daily passes.
I think it's good because they got to bring somebody with them, for the most part.
And it's just for the high school kids, or is it? or all-
Whoever's involved with the health fair. I don't know. Do you know Jason at all? I know they're dropping some stuff off here too for that event. But
I was just asking if you knew or not. I'll second that.
First and second, do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Is it a total of 5 passes that you?
Yeah.
Sorry. Now do we have any? Okay.
Now we're
All those
ready.
in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Citywide cleanup day is May 19th.
that's a question. If that date, this is still something that the council's interested in doing. That's close to what we did last year. As far as,
That's like last year's poster, isn't
It
it?
is
Yeah.
last year's poster, yep.
so, as far as the rates and everything on there, you guys are cool with that, we should probably get something out to at least the garbage company, so we actually have dumpsters this year. We had to go to, I think, Slayton or Curry last year to get dumpsters, because, other cities have their cleanup day at the same time. So they're short.
How many dumpsters did we use last fall?
We got 3, I don't know if we should go down to 2. We haven't filled more than 1.5 yet.
And if all else fails, we just build a pile next to it and
We have one at the shop, a smaller one, we can always
get it if necessary.
distribute it, or put it in a dump truck, haul it ourselves, but the biggest thing is mattresses. We get hit pretty hard on those, so I don't know if that was a, what's the other
What
charge?
do we get?
Do we charge for mattresses?
I don't think we did last year.
On the list, there was charge.
What does it
Ended up-
cost?
Well, we got hit pretty hard last year because it rained on them,
Yep.
and they don't take wet mattresses.
Imagine that.
They're considered waste, and then they're $25 a mattress.
Oh,
With them being dry, they're $7 a mattress. So,
we better have a big tarp.
Do box
Just in
spring,
case.
are box springs included in the same category?
I would assume, I can ask that question, but I don't know if we want to put some kind of a charge on it to recover some of it. Because I think we got hit with like $180 last year in mattress disposal.
I think we should recover some, because most people don't have a way of getting it over there anyway.
I don't know if we do, I know some of the stuff we did like half the price that it cost us to get rid of, and the city ate half of it as a service. I don't know if that's something,
Do like $5 or whatever.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
And then do we still want to do the first item free?
We can.
That was just another thing I saw. I mean, it encourages people to get
Right.
stuff out of there.
It's by no means a moneymaker, but it gets rid of a lot of garbage in town, so. That's kind of,
We've had some budget item for it too, so.
yeah, what we've been doing is taking,
that course-
earmarking some of the surcharge money for that, so. That's where it's being funded from. Kind of out of the compost, it's coming out of the compost budget.
Right.
More or less is where it's coming out of, so.
Did we have anything else that came in last year that you remember that we didn't kind of have on the list?
The biggest one is paint, and they told us to run away from that, so they should just haul that right up to the county themselves, so. Which is a small enough item where it's usually the council TVs and it's more so TVs than anything.
Anything.
Yep.
Better to take care of them that way than find them in front of clothing boxes.
Yep.
Thank God for front end loaders.
Some of them were quite large.
On the list here, you've got charges for a large item of furniture, would that, that's $10, would that, what the first one being free? Just
Yeah.
Put mattresses in there too and be done with it?
We could.
Just
Yeah.
thought.
Where does TV fall under?
TV is right above it with 5
Oh,
computers, monitors, TVs.
When are those people gonna start that tire thing in town, recycling thing?
Boy.
Will
We're
it
still waiting
be-
on their MPC.
Because I think it was 30 days for the hearing period, and that was what, January? End of January?
Right around there.
It's got to be getting close, but I don't know how far he is on his equipment either. So.
They want our tires or what?
I think the tires, I took them straight to the landfill. They charge us by the pound.
Well, but when those guys do that, don't they want tires? Aren't they,
Yeah,
isn't that what they're doing?
but actually they have a contract with the landfill, so we pay them and they come and pick them up. But when they are in town, then we'll utilize them. Why drive them way over there for them to come back here, so.
Right.
I think probably get us a better rate too for a cleanup day. So,
Yeah, something to ask them about anyway.
yeah, and we'll probably have him here for the appliances anyway, so.
See, I would say just make that change to add mattress and box spring on there.
Yeah.
And now we're keeping it at the $10 or what?
Yeah. It just fits under the large item of furniture.
So does mattress and box spring come together for?
That was another question.
I think it'd be separate items.
I think we have to pay for them as separate items.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Just so that we know that it's
Yep.
2 pieces.
it's cheaper to cut
Well,
the
the
fabric.
important thing is, we're gonna do this or not, and then
Yep.
you can come back and you research charges, we can prove charges later.
The big, yeah, if you wanted to table this part of it and just approve the date,
Date?
I can at least get the dumpsters and the appliance, I forget his name now, but down the street for the appliance hauling. We can get him lined up for that date too, so.
I'll make the motion that we set May 19th as the date for the cleanup.
I'll second that.
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chief, do you want to chat?
Good evening. Met with the Tracy Police, or the city's police commission today, and I'm here to let you know that they made the recommendation to move Officer Damath from the part-time badge number of 233 to the full-time staff badge number of 231 upon council's approval, and they'd like to make a recommendation that we replace the part-time officer with a hiring process as soon as possible.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So when they go to part-time to full-time, they have to change their badge numbers?
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
I'd make a motion to hire him full-time and seek a replacement for the part-time staff.
I'll second that.
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Hopefully we can find another Nicole that'll stick around as long.
Do you want a recommendation? Do anything for to advertise? You want to bring that up at all?
Well, the motion was to hire another part-timer, right? So it includes doing the
Okay.
advertising, right?
Yep.
Or do you need a separate motion?
Oh, no, I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay,
The other part-time one, so.
okay.
Yeah,
All right,
I ran
thank
it
you.
I ran it all together, so.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
West Side Hangar base discussion.
So at the airport commission, they had discussion on putting like planking on the west side of the hangars. We got one renter out there right now that it's a sinkhole There's no improved surface there. As far as that planking goes, unless it has a goofy name, I really can't find that planking. I know Tony.
Probably don't make it anymore, is what I'm thinking. It
So-
was, PSP is what it was called, pure steel planking, it was interlocking planking
Okay.
for those types of situations. I used to see it commonly, military surplus, but I haven't seen it in a long, long time. Make grid shells, driveways, whatever.
So I guess, the discussion brought, there is really no base there. It's black dirt. So I don't know if that's something we want to dig out, so we at least have a base underneath it. Because even Saturday night in the snow, we were sinking 4 inches, and you gotta back drag it because it freezes, and it's still not a guarantee the plane's gonna sink when it comes out, but
Is it just that one end?
it's, right now, I mean, nobody else moves in the winter. I mean, it could be a problem, but it's just maybe something we should look at, putting a base in there at least, so it's not a bottomless pit. Ideally, I'd like to move that renter to the east side, but we're in the process of eviction on one of the hangars there, so we're just moving along.
Well, but regardless, if we move somebody out and somebody else wants to move in, we're back to the exact same problem once again.
And I've talked to 2 people that would like to rent here, so, and one has a brand new airplane, so.
They're not gonna put it in the mud.
No.
So is that one that you guys could just take care of?
We could get the base in there, and then the biggest thing is props don't like gravel or dirt or any rocks, or, so we should really have some kind of improved surface there, or something that's gonna hold the gravel down. So as far as the base, I mean, that's step one. Once we get the base in, then at any time we can look at putting pavement in there during one of the street projects, but that's kind of what the discussion was, but.
That's from the discussion from the airport commission. This is a project that's been kicked around and promised and wanted.
Do we have funds available that we set aside for that too?
Well, the base, we don't have too much going on with the master plan right now for maintenance operations this year, so we can probably get 75% of the money out of the M&O grant, just as gravel. I mean, we do it every year for the driveway to the runway and the main driveway, so a little extra isn't gonna. really-
So you're saying 75% of it would come out of
The grant funds.
the grant funds?
It's use it or lose it, so, and they've been pretty good at letting us use it for that stuff, so.
So that makes sense.
It's something that needs to be done if we're gonna try and exploit that asset. We need to make the west side of the T hangars accessible for people willing to pay rent. A lot of the money, well, all the money basically is dependent upon us maintaining 10 airplanes out there, so it's an investment.
I'll look into the costs on asphalt too. I know Chris had sent me some stuff on recent projects. And I can kind of average them out. I don't know. Andy, do you know if there's a big increase in asphalt this year?
Not yet.
Not yet, so,
There's no steel or aluminum.
no, just fuel. So, I mean, as far as the gravel, we take care of that, but obviously a slab that size isn't something we're gonna try to take on, so.
So do we need a motion or anything, or you're just gonna start digging in?
Maybe just to put the base in is when the weather, get the frost out of the ground, and we could work on that. I do know the renter here has got a few nicks in his prop from that area already, and I was kind of like to keep the renters that are out there, so.
Yep.
Yeah, it needs to be done.
Do you have something to add, Dave? I saw your
I got
hand.
one guy that's gonna put a deposit on an airplane right now, so we're gonna have another one on the west side by the end of the month.
So right now, we're saying we'll dig it out, put gravel
Yeah.
in there to at least give it a base.
Yeah, it's, that whole airport's a wet area, so we probably have to dig out at least a good foot, foot and a half, and then put filter cloth down and then build it back up with gravel, so. I mean, we're talking about a 40 by 225 foot area, about what we're talking about, so. Enough to get out and over.
Is that just gonna be a short-term fix?
Well, the base has to be there no matter what. So we put the base in, and then as far as the future goes, whenever they're ready to put asphalt on it, they'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
So the base will always stay there.
It's a temporary permanent.
Step in the right direction.
Yep.
Yep.
As we've talked about it for a while.
It used to be grass, but just haven't been able to keep grass in there because of the traffic, so.
Put AstroTurf down.
It would also help us too, cleaning snow there.
Yep.
It's, to try to make it decent is, we took out about everything but 2 inches, then we had to wait for it to freeze, and we went over there and scraped it before it got warm the next day. So it's kind of a pain for us too, so.
So you just need to put some costs together?
As far as the asphalt's gonna be the big hit. Gravel's not gonna be the end of the world. A few $1,000, but 75% of that is paid by grant, so.
So need a motion to move forward, or?
With the base,
Based on?
I'd make the motion to do the base out at the airport on the west side of the hangars. Go ahead.
Go right ahead.
I'll second that.
First and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Administrator update.
do you see my memo? And I don't know if you've gotten my email today.
Yeah.
What's that?
Kinda, he's working on interviewing, phone interviews. I don't know if he's doing any personal, but the way it looked like it was phone. Let's see how the candidates come about. Recommend possibly to us, like we've formed a committee already. Was everybody here that were on that committee? As far as reviewing the applicants, I know when Wendell's gonna look at them, and then we're gonna form like a 2-council, 2-citizen committee
Like we did the last time?
to do the.
We had talked about it, but I don't
We
think we
haven't
ever
set
set
one up.
anybody up.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think that was the next step on the original plan anyway.
Because, well, what you sent out, it made it kind of sound like he thought there were a couple people that he was interviewing that would qualify. That's the way it kind of sounded.
That's the way it sounded. I mean, what I sent you is what I got, so it's not much.
And he said by what, March 15th he would,
Yep.
is that the date that he put in there?
He'd have an answer on them on the 19th,
19th, that's what it was.
is what he had in there. Just for discussion only, as far as trying to set committees or anything, it is possible that the entire council can meet in closed session to do interviews. They do not have to be public, because it's a personnel issue.
We could do that too.
That way everybody's got an input.
I think it won't be public until you get like your top 3. I think is one that they discuss.
That doesn't have to be public at any time.
I know in the past, that's what we've done.
That's what we've done, yeah.
He's bringing us his top 6 then, or first to start?
Also says I expect to complete reviews of all applications we have on file for the position this week. In addition, I will conduct telephone interviews of selected candidates. By next Monday, March 19th, I will have a recommendation for you regarding potential interviews from amongst the candidates we currently have. That was the memo
It's
today.
on there.
As far as quantity, I'm not sure.
There isn't really a lot of history to go on with that hiring process. The first time around, a complete community committee narrowed it down to 5. And out of that 5, 3 were able to come and interview, and they were interviewed in a public format. The last time around, after that, the council picked, then interviewed a couple, It was all public interviews. And then this very last time, all the interviews were done in public. Doesn't make any much difference to me. I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be done that way. There is no precedence. There's no right way, wrong way. Discussing with some of the applicants that public interview, especially when they're all in the room at the same time or all done at the same time, is kind of
Weird.
weird to say the least. And then it doesn't help the applicants at all. It's like, okay, they said that sounds pretty good, but that's not what I was gonna say, type, they second guess themselves, so you're not really getting a good interview. But that's,
Personally, I like more of the one at a time interview, because I do think you get a chance, and so does the applicant, get a chance to have more of a conversation than just,
Right.
these are the questions, boom, 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 boom. I just think it lends to getting a better feel for a candidate, because it's hard enough to know what you're going to hire, because people put on a very good front when they're interviewing. You know, I could glow during an interview and not be maybe the best person for the job, but I personally think we need to do them one-on-one. And I guess right now, I think with a council, I think maybe we need to take the bull by the horns, and we need to be the one that meets with them. And at least initially, I don't know if we need another step or if that's just belaboring the point by having the public ones. But I think we as a council needed to be the first ones to kind of go through those and see where we're at.
And it probably comes down to how, I mean, if he goes, I got 3 people for you, we can do one interview and be done probably essentially. Because we'd know if the person would fit or not fit.
I personally like the one-on-one too.
Yeah,
I
'cause
think
like
it's
you
hard
said,
to
if
get
people hear a
both.
question, they
Sometimes
go, well,
it's
that's,
not, but that's not very good.
yeah, it's, they just don't, the feedback I got from prior ones, I actually haven't been in one that's, yeah, the public interview, it's not the proper way.
so it sounds like we're just gonna have to wait for Wendell to get back to us,
Says the 19th.
so then we can,
So are we not advertising anymore then? I know these are from the candidates of the applications he already has. That other timeline had that we were going to be advertising in April. Are we holding off on doing any further advertising then?
He hasn't really indicated either way. So,
The advertising bottom line was until positions filled is
Yeah.
what we put out there.
yep.
So it's, if you got a pool big enough to pick from, we need to,
Yeah,
Start
because I
thinking about
think
it.
that the longer, when you wait so long, could be losing good ones because it's dragging out so long.
and we can find that out too, like on Monday, if he comes back and says, I got 5 for you, you guys can have at it, and then we can go, well, we don't interview, or we don't want to advertise again, re-advertise, until we interview those people. I mean, we can always, or if he says, I only got 1, it's like, well, you may want to keep advertising,
Yeah.
just in case. It's not gonna hurt us any. So we just kinda have to wait till next Monday to see what he says.
Sounds like he'll have a recommendation Monday.
But we can make a motion today that once we hear from him on Monday, that we're going to set up the interviews with the council
And one-on-one.
on one-on-one. So we don't have to wait until Monday the 26th to make that motion. I'm trying to get this moving along.
makes sense.
So you want to schedule a meeting? Or are you just meeting one-on-one?
Just
Well,
allow
we
them to have.
probably can't schedule. We can just say that that the council's gonna make a motion that the council's gonna interview the people
Closed session.
Just
Closed
instruction.
session is a one-on-one, and then we just have to figure out a date.
Okay.
Once we find out how many there are and can contact the people,
Okay.
and it might have to be 2 days too. who
Yeah.
knows?
Depending on the candidates, I
Yeah.
mean.
And just
What their
call
expectations
a special meeting.
are. Yeah, that gives us enough flexibility, I think. Yeah.
As long as it's 3 days ahead of time.
Yep.
Yep.
So now do I need to word that in a proper motion?
Proper English?
Okay, I make a motion that we, that we set that we're gonna meet one-on-one with the applicants as a council, closed meeting, after we hear from the, who is he?
Wendell.
From Wendell on the 19th. And we will set a special closed meeting at that time.
Second?
Good job. First and second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Liability coverage waiver correction.
So I misheard our agent. He said in the past that we waived the monetary limits. He said we actually do not waive the monetary limits. I just want a correction, I guess, on that, so we can get the right paperwork out. This was from the last meeting.
Was that done in a resolution?
No, just a motion.
Okay, I'd make a motion then to do not waive our monetary limits on our liability coverage due to League of Minnesota Cities.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution authorization to execute.
Oh, wait.
We have
had that
K.
Where?
We added on K.
Oh, yeah, we did. Sorry.
So the liquor store at the Women's Expo was inquiring, it's actually the board, was inquiring about having a temporary off-site on-sale license to sell wine at the Women's Expo, contingent on the state liquor laws.
And
Out
do
there.
you have to add the mimosas on that too?
It's just sell alcohol.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
First and second, any discussion?
It's gonna be our employees that are doing the selling.
Yep.
Well, that's what we're gonna
Yeah.
find out, because if we can do it similar to the beer tent, then it can be volunteers. I mean, that's part of what we're not sure.
The only thing is
what
the chamber is a nonprofit, and that's where you might run into the problem.
Okay. And that's why we said it
Yep.
contingent on the whole state laws
Making
thing.
sure the rules are right before
Right.
we.
And that's why I
Yep.
brought it up for discussion, so, okay.
We just wanted it so that we could benefit from the advertising from the Women's Expo, so it would be free advertising. They would put us on there, so we couldn't wait till the next meeting. Put the liquors, I'm sorry. Put the city liquor store selling the
Okay.
wine and mimosas.
So can we do a motion with the contingency so that we can go?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't second it.
First and second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now you guys want to move on to the resolution? Authorization to execute Minnesota Department of Transportation Grant Agreement Airport IMPR. Improvement?
This is for the master plan. I had thought this was done. I know we signed a bunch of stuff for this a year ago, more than a year ago. But they need a resolution to join this agreement through the MnDOT. It's to receive the grant money for the airport master plan. Just need a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve resolution 2018-15.
I'll I'll second that.
First and second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a motion for the municipal payable without the breakthrough beverage.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And now we need one with breakthrough beverage.
I'd make a motion.
I'll second.
First and second, and all of those, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. I should add the library minutes in there.
Make a motion for the library motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any unfinished business? Any new business? Any mayor council communications?
I had a couple residents approach me about taking photographs of the entryway here in front of City Hall, as an example. A picture of John Stoltenbach and a little bit of history from him. Someone else mentioned a picture of Homer and Betty Dobson, and their contribution to the city. It would be at no cost to the taxpayer. The families would donate it. They just want to know if they'd be able to hang them.
How would the decision be made as to who? So that there wouldn't be hard feelings or the questions as to, okay, why did so-and-so get on the wall but not somebody else?
That's a good question. I don't know what their plan was. They didn't get into that. I mean, it could be discussed and rules set. I don't know which way you'd want to do it, but
Yeah, because I don't know if it's just, if the family wants to pay to put a picture up, and they can put it up, but then we'd end up with,
We could end up
Lots
with
of
them? Yep.
lots of them. I mean, I'm not saying I'm against the
no, it's got to be.
deal. It's just, I think there has to be some guidelines, and I'm not sure how we would set the guidelines.
You would probably want them to look the same too.
Be the same
like the
size,
frames,
yeah.
and the frames should
Frames and the
probably.
styles
be
and
the
stuff,
same.
so you don't have
That part they had covered. As a suggestion, it just built up. Have the council approve each one as an individual request.
What are
And they
we,
would-
but what are we going to make our decision based on? It can't be a popularity
No, it
contest.
shouldn't be. There should be, it should be justified by the contributions that individuals made to the community and the history they provided to the community. That's the way I would look at it. Not just because they donated a new gym floor out to school, so we should hang a picture type thing. That, to me, that would be the simplest. Because the rule, if you made a hard and fast rule about it today,
It would change tomorrow.
it could change tomorrow or 20 years from now. They're trying to apply a rule that wouldn't apply anymore. Type thing.
So we would, I guess I would think we probably need to have, I hate to say we have to form another committee, but I think we need another committee to come up with some guidelines. Even if it is when you bring the request to the council, you have to have written down
Right.
what they did.
Contributions or accomplishments and,
Yeah.
justification for it. Yeah, that, I could refer that back to the ones who referred it to me, and they can set the committee.
Well, then they can look at the guidelines, what they were thinking of
Right.
guidelines too.
There was not a whole lot of detail otherwise, other than that they talked to a couple others from the community, and they were for it, and they would pay for it, and the pictures would all be the same size, but there was no, like I said, there's no qualifications that
Right.
they mentioned, so.
Yeah, because it would open a can of worms to a degree.
It
But
could.
something we, as we can look into it, it's
It's not, we're not opposed to it, just we don't know.
Not
if we-
opposed, just don't know how to do
It would be a
Yeah.
bad thing, I mean, it would decorate the halls, but yeah, we just have to have
Yep.
guidelines.
Well, it's kind of like out at the high school with their wall of fame.
And
But
basically, it'd be the
there's
same thing.
pretty strict guidelines on what has had to happen and what they,
Do you want
So
their
maybe we should-
guidelines?
Yeah, maybe we should
can't
get
hurt
those.
to have with.
Contact the high school and get their guidelines?
It would just give a basis to start off of, if nothing else.
'Cause do we know of any other city that does anything similar to this?
I was completely out of the blue when I just,
And check.
Just check around, we can look into it and see what shakes out.
And defer it back to the individuals that brought it to you if they have some specific thoughts on that, or if they would do some of the legwork
I gar-
to
I
bring
gar-
an official
I garnered the
request.
support, they just gotta come up and do all the legwork, so.
Well, and then bring an official
Yeah,
request.
Works for me.
Do we need a motion to do that? Do we have to do that?
Well, it's not on the agenda, so. I do have, I know Tammy brought up about having the pool managers have training, lifeguard training. And I talked to Shannon about it, and she don't think there'll be a shortage with guards this year. I don't think it's necessary. They have 11 new wanting to certify, 7 that are coming back, or recertifications. And then there's 4 that are returning and will not need recertification this year. That's 22 guards on staff. Last year we had 17 to 18. So
So the managers don't need to be.
we should be covered for this year.
Are they all college kids, though, that are going to be leaving at the beginning of August?
That I don't
We
know.
have to close the pool earlier?
I could ask that
I
question.
think that's where we've ran into the problem, is there in August, when the college kids all go off to college,
That's mid-August, yeah.
you know, that we have to close the pool, and the high school, the grade school kids are still out of school, but there's no pool for them.
So, and I was at the Southwest Regional Development meeting just last Thursday, and I talked to like a lot of the city people that were there. And they all told me that all of their managers are all certified. And then they also told me that none of their pools are profitable. They said, it's like, your pool isn't profitable, but you kind of have to have it, and
It's an amenity.
so.
Who's the assistant manager?
We have 2, 3, 2. I think it's 2.
Are they lifeguards?
No, they have, none of the managers.
No managers?
I just think it'd be,
Have been
I
in the
just think
past.
that one of them anyway, somebody should be, because then if somebody calls in and you need somebody, they should be able to jump in and do that.
It's just the manager can't be in the water. That's the only.
Well, hopefully
But if
they'll
we
be
have
around
2
that day.
assistants, if the assistants are the ones,
Otherwise, if you have just one manager, then that person's stuck there, 60, 70 hours a week. So this way.
no, I'm not saying get rid of the assistant manager positions. I'm saying maybe add on the expectation of being able to be a lifeguard also onto maybe the 2 assistant managers.
Okay.
So if Shannon doesn't want to be a lifeguard, I don't know what she has as far as swimming lesson capability. I don't want to lose her as a manager by making this an expectation, but then how about the assistant managers?
Do we have assistant managers yet?
We don't have any
We
yet.
don't have them hired yet,
I have
right?
to sit down with an interview, I think, later this month with Shannon.
See, a perfect time to like be doing this is because the assistant managers, we don't have them yet, so we can tell them that that's what we expect is. I don't know, I just think it'd be a good idea if
I agree with you.
somebody.
There may be something to bring to the aquatic center board too.
And check on how many are leaving volleyball, football, all that stuff when August hits, so.
Isn't it kind of amazing? It's like, what do the kids do around the town for a job that they don't have to drive to Marshall or something? But we run short on those. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But it's kind of sad, like last year, when we had to shut the pool down the middle of a month one time because they didn't have enough lifeguards. That's
I think that was the year before last.
one of them years it was.
Yeah.
We just don't want to repeat that.
We don't. Because then somebody comes and then they don't know that, and then they have to, that's gonna like not make them happy, and then they won't come back.
And it's just not fair to our children. You know, here it's hot, August, it's hot.
And they're shut down for the season.
Yeah, and they're not in school yet, so now they're gonna be running all over and causing gray hair, where at least maybe they could be at the pool. Don't worry.
That's what happened to you.
Yes.
Darn good. Darn kid.
Yeah, I can maybe bring that up to the Aquatic Center Board, the agenda item too.
Okay, thank you.
I know they haven't met this year, but.
One other thing, I'd like to say thank you and your department for taking care of the streets on that wonderful 1-inch snow like we had Saturday.
Yeah.
It was nice to be able to get around Sunday without having any problems.
We had the discussion as if we wanted to battle the bar crowds or the church crowds, so I figured the bar crowds would be less. So Saturday night
Less
it was.
spots.
Move a little less. But thank you.
Yep, you bet. I'll pass the message on.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Any discussion? Those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.